Phones on silent. Phones on silent. You are in the movie theater now. All phones on silent. Let me make sure everything's silented. It's the broadcast. We are back. It is Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, here with the team, ready to have a good conversation tonight. And as always, the first thing we start with is like this page, share it, take this. It's live right now, streaming on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope. I think your mom's watching. I think your dad's watching. I'm pretty sure your tios and your tias across the city are probably watching this. It is the most informational show you will get all week. But like it, share it, let a friend know right now. You can start a watch party on Facebook. We need to build the following. The broadcast is all about information, right? So no matter what happens, we're going to put thoughts and ideas out there. We start at 8 o'clock every Tuesday. We try to end about 9 o'clock unless we're having a really, really good evening and a lot of fun. And we might go to 9:05, 9:10. But in any event, we jump on. We have a conversation about what's happening in San Antonio. We talk about all types of politics. We have guests in. We talk campaigns. We talk impeachment. D.C., Austin, San Antonio, City Hall, you name it. It's always a conversation for you. So don't ever hesitate to share it and tell a friend hello. We got on the back behind the camera, Tyler is live and ready to go. He's going to be following us to let us know who's chiming in and answer questions. Charlie's over, got us on the technology, and Saulo, our friend, is right behind me, ready to chime in as well and offer his input. And tonight, again, the broadcast is ready to hit issues that matter most. But I got to tell you, I'm going to be up front right now. Tonight's going to be a broadcast unlike anything we've done before today. So we're about 10 or 11 of these in already, and they've been building as a real kind of a fun machine, right? We start, if you follow the show, we start with funny videos or something that's happening in the community and just hilarious stuff. Then we get into the meat, then we close with memes, but we argue in between there for about 30 or 40 minutes on things that matter most. But tonight, we're going to do things completely different. And I'm going to tell you why. Today, we lost a member of the San Antonio Fire Department. Firefighter Greg Garza lost his life in the line of duty this morning, making a call downtown. Firefighter Garza, Greg, succumbed to his injuries today at the hospital, and the firefighter family lost a dear friend and member today. So I don't think, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think tonight's the night to be starting off with funny stuff and having a good old time. Instead, we're going to talk about first responders here in a little bit and bring the team in and have a conversation about what first responders do, what they mean to us. I want to honor firefighter Greg Garza. And so for the first part of this show, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about sacrifice. We're going to talk about firefighters. We're going to talk about what that means to wear a uniform as a police officer and what those first responders do for us. And that's what we're going to spend our time on tonight. I also have, you can see Kenny right here. Kenny Villespin is running for county commissioner in precinct 3. So he was committed to join us tonight. We're going to bring him in on the discussion too. Kenny's a pastor. He's a political candidate. I don't know how you bring the two of those together, but he does. So Kenny's going to be a part of the discussion. Kenny, thank you for joining us as well tonight.
Thank you.
But in about 10 or 15 minutes, we'll talk to Kenny and have a conversation with him about what he's up to as well. So we'll honor his time tonight. There's a good shot of Kenny right there in the skyline of San Antonio. Kenny Villespin, running for county commissioner in precinct 3. And then we'll close up with just another moment of silence and a thank you for the service of our first responders. So as always, I try to wear shirts that matter most to kind of represent things in the community. Tonight, I am wearing a shirt from the San Antonio Professional Firefighters Association. Let me get up on there. There it is. I have, as chronicled throughout a political campaign and by our illustrious friends at the Express News and the Rivard Report, everybody knows I absolutely love our first responders, firefighters and police officers. I've been blessed to be around them and be a part of their family for the last 4 or 5 years. My wife and I absolutely adore our relationships that we have with as people from the unions, both sides, the police officers and the firefighters, all the way down to the rank and file boot, the rookie that just joined the department or is walking a brand new beat or is with their field training officer riding around a police car. Those are the people that I consider job one at City Hall, public safety. And I think today we're going to recognize that. So I thought we would do it by first having a conversation about first responders. So this is an open session now. I want to let's get these folks right here. Stephen, welcome in. Stephen, thank you for your condolences. Greg, for your words mean so much more. For the fire department, Jesus Merlo says, Kenny Villespin for AJ Castillo, jam up, dude. Abarientes Elhino, condolences to the firefighter family. Who else we got on here? Tracy, hello, great t-shirt, gotta love it. Ray Rodriguez is up. Ralph Velasquez, Henry Bassick, who's the president of the Park Police Officers. We're going to make sure we talk about them tonight, too. My wife is on, Renee Martinez, Lyndon Thompson. It's good to see everybody tonight. So let's have a quick conversation. I want everybody to join. I'm going to ask a question over the next couple of minutes, but this is what I want people of San Antonio to recognize. When a firefighter or police officer loses their life in the line of duty, it is the ultimate sacrifice. It is a job really unlike any other at the city of San Antonio. Yeah, we've, over the years, argued about budgets and dollars, how much they mean on a spreadsheet. City staff can analyze that. They can say, this is a staffing number, this is the cost on a spreadsheet, this is the cost of their health care, this is the cost of their uniforms, this is the cost of a shot of Narcan on an ambulance. All those things add up, and they're good government, right? When you're part of the government, you know those things because you have to be careful for your budget and those things. But what doesn't show up, and I've been saying this for years, what doesn't show up on any budget line is the sacrifice and things we see today, like we saw for firefighter Garza, for Greg. That sacrifice, never knowing, and this is where I want you to walk. If you walk away from anything tonight, it's knowing that this job, when they go to work every day, that call, right, if they pull over a speeder, if there's a dark parked car, if you're a park police officer, you're at O.P. Schnabel Park, there's a dark parked car, you're going over there to ask a question about it, that could be your last call. You could be, as firefighter Garza was today, making a call. Nothing is routine, but making a call that would seem like you've done it before 10, 15, 20 times. You know, he tripped coming out or fell out of his apparatus today and lost his life. But all that in the service of our community. So I can't press upon you enough that we think about these men and women well beyond a spreadsheet. Don't get hung up. And this is what I would implore members of the City Council. And as we see these things and these fights that have been occurring over the last several years between police officers and firefighters, the unions, the leadership, the rank and file, everybody, City Hall, the mayor, myself when I was there, you name it, 4 or 5 years ongoing now. Let's get away from thinking about these men and women as more than just numbers on a diagram or a spreadsheet. That's something that adds up at the end to a bottom line budget. Let's try to get away from that, because days like today remind us that they are more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. They're more than just a manpower shortage or overtime hours. Every law enforcement officer, every firefighter has to live that every day. I'm going to remind some of those things that they face here in a second, but I couldn't go tonight having a conversation of fun and talking politics, but without talking about what's core about our country. I don't care if you're the president, the governor, you're the mayor of San Antonio, you're most responsible for the safety of your community. And the men and women that do that are armed forces, our police officers, firefighters, and our law enforcement. So it's huge. Folks, we cannot forget these men and women. And today we've got some things going up. Can we just put up a picture of firefighter Greg Garza? Here's, and when I got on the city council, I attended the firefighter for the funeral for fallen firefighter Scott Dean. And we call it a final alarm. If you'll notice it's today, 10:15, firefighter Greg Garza. I think we got a better shot of Greg up there. Just a damn good dude, Greg Garza. Can we move up to another photo? Here it is right here. And I would leave this one up here for a minute or two. I want people to see this. You can donate to the Garza family. I wanted to be very certain that we got this number up here at Generations Federal Credit Union. So we're going to take a couple of minutes and just talk about this picture. You see Greg on the left, that's him and his duty. He was part of the hazmat team. Obviously, when a firefighter police officer falls in the line of duty, and by the way, line of duty deaths in the firefighters also mean cancer-related deaths. We've lost firefighters, Woody Woodcock, Max Weltons. We've lost folks over the years to cancer. So I want you to remember this too. Firefighters often don't perish just from, come on man, they're not dying just at fires. They're dying from the inhalants, from the toxins, from the things they ingest in their bodies, from the diseases and afflictions they take home to their family when they run up on a job site and they're sitting there doing their work, right? So they die for many reasons, and we cannot forget that. But I want you to let firefighter Greg Garza's picture sink in there for a second. You can donate to the Garza family at Generations Federal Credit Union. There's the number, the bank account number right there, 1400001571964. It's in the description of the post. Let's make it happen. Let's share this and push it out to as many people as we can. Copy this. Take a screenshot of it, send it to your family and friends. Obviously they can sit and watch through a podcast, but take a screenshot of it right now. With your camera, pull your camera out right now. Take a picture of this screenshot, send the picture of Greg and that account number. He's got a family at home, and this is the burden of the law enforcement and the firefighter family, that when the man or woman goes off to work and they don't come home, the family's left behind, and with little to no answers because they've lost somebody that they absolutely love, and nothing's going to put that to bed for them. It's going to always be there. But I want you to take a picture of it right now. Let's see who's commenting here. So Tom, hello, it's good to see you. Ray Rodriguez, of course. We'll continue to go. And AR Cifuentes is up. My wife, hello. Tyler Hall just joined. Of course, he's behind the camera. It's a good thing you joined. You better have. Steve Potter. Okay. All right. Let's just open it up for a second. I want to talk. So I've got Kenny Valespin here. Saulo's in the house, of course, and Tyler behind the screen. Kenny, you're running for county commissioner. We're going to get to that in a second. But Kenny's a pastor. So why don't you give us, tell us what you think about when you've been in your pastor of your church, you're talking about funerals and death and hard counseling and things like that, taking care of families and their toughest moments. What do you think about when you see a firefighter like this in a situation where a law enforcement officer, first responder sacrificed their life? Just give me instincts, what you thought about when you heard about the firefighter issue today.
Yeah, I think so. One of the first things that you said was because of this sacrifice, a lot of the families are left with this sense of, I don't understand what happened. There's an incredible verse in Philippians 4:7, and it says that God will give you the peace that passes all understanding. When I look at peace and understanding, I look at it in a race, and God says that I'm going to give you peace, and it's going to pass understanding, because you may never be able to understand it, but what I want to give you and what I would like to give you through all these hard times or through this sacrifice that you're trying to understand is what I'm trying to give you is I'm trying to give you peace. And so to the Garza family, if you're watching this, one of the things that I pray for you as a pastor, as a public servant, is that I pray for peace for your family. It's going to be hard. You're going to think about things that you don't understand. I want to try to understand this. But one thing that I pray is that God give you peace.
That's, you know what, I think it's a little bit divine intervention, that while we invited you here tonight as the county commissioner candidate, you just so happen to be a pastor.
That's right.
And Philippians, that is an excellent quote, and I really appreciate that, because oftentimes, and my wife just beautifully said, Kenny, I love the piece between peace and understanding, and how the race is more for peace, because it's difficult to understand this type of law studies. It's for all of us. You know, these things really, they don't know political boundaries. Mm-hmm. When you lose a firefighter, if you saw the city of San Antonio's press conference today, there was the mayor there, there was the chief of police, there was the fire chief, there was all the council members standing up there, was the city manager there. And when this has happened in the past, it unites an entire family. The sad part is, it does, because it's politics, it only unites them for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And we tend to lose sight of that after the pain wears off for those outside. But inside of the family, that pain kind of moves on. And for the firefighter family, it continues to be there. And for the police officer family, we're going to talk about a couple other fallen officers and Scott Dean, because I want people to remember them tonight. And today was about, when I saw this and I thought about it, I said, today's about making sure we remember the men and women who've given it up, period. And it is over 100 in our city over the years, 100 law enforcement folks that have really put themselves in a tough position. So I think, and then paid the ultimate sacrifice. They went and did it. And we have to remember them. I mean, as far back as 1903, 1918, I mean, you name it, people are out there on the wall, the memorial wall for firefighters and police officers. So look, Salo, talk to me, brother. What do you think when you saw the news today? I'm curious if you can you pan over to Salo? You think that's possible? Give him, I want to know what.
I don't have a mic.
You don't have a mic?
No. Well, let me see.
Get it up here. Get it up here. Get prepared.
In regards to first responders?
In regards to first responders, brother, what did you think when you saw it today? What does it hit you? You're a man of faith, deeply rooted in your faith. I'm just curious, why don't you give us a few words what you think about it?
To me, it's interesting.
Firefighters, police officers.
Yeah, because you know how, because of today's weird media, they get a bad rep. But if people would really understand it and think about it, first responders are running towards what we are running from. So if something happens, there's a fire, there's something going on, we run away from it because there's danger. First responders, their first response is to run towards towards danger. And why? Because they have what I think it's a God heart, a Jesus heart, trying to protect others. They put themselves to the side for a greater cause. And in all honesty, we are their cause. You know what I mean? We're on their mind. They're thinking of us. Right? They're like, okay, there's danger. These people need to run away from it, but we're running towards it to protect the innocent. Or you know what? We're not that innocent, honestly. We're not that innocent, but still, they're putting their lives on the line.
No, I love that. I love that. Run into danger. I don't know if I could do that job myself. You know, when it comes down to it and it's on the line, I mean, can you pick it up, put the bunker gear on? Could you do the job as a firefighter? I don't know. I'd like to think every one of us would answer the call if it mattered most. But
when I was watching those documentaries on 9/11, I remember one of the guys he says, I don't know what happens. He says that instinct just kicks in, the instinct of protecting.
Training?
Yeah, of protecting
training?
others. He said the instinct of protecting others, and I'm like, man, I don't know if many of us have that.
You know, and it's an amazing calling. I don't, and we talk about, you know, in the biblical term, the calling, right? I mean, the biblical term of it is that it's an inherent piece in you that you just kind of feel it, so you go for it.
Yeah.
And when I look, it's kind of funny actually. The only reason I had a relationship build with police officers and firefighters was because I ran for office in 2013, and they didn't endorse me. Like they straight up worked against me.
Yeah.
And working against me. We broke off, so they do these interview processes where they bring in all the candidates, and you'll get this soon enough. They bring in all the candidates, and they talk, and they ask you questions about public safety. What would you do? What's your life history? You know, they ask you questions, and you go through it, and they endorse you or don't. So in 2013, the police officers and firefighters straight up did not endorse me. They went with the incumbent, the councilman that was in place at the time, but from that sparked a relationship. So I think God does work in mysterious, absolutely mysterious, unpredictable ways, right? And it started a relationship for me with the police officers and firefighters. And so like throughout the campaign and throughout my time on council, people have always questioned me about, oh, you're too close to police officers and firefighters, and you're too close to them, and how can you function? How can you be, I mean, I can tell you why, because these are men and women of impeccable character, and never once in a 5-6 year relationship has it ever been a quid pro quo, to use the Ukrainian language of the day. But it has never been a quid pro quo. It's just it's this family thing. So I want you to think about this. If you've ever served in the military, Kenny served in the Army, I was in the Air Force. If you ever served in the military, you know when you put that uniform on and then you go serve, you go through basic training, you become something different from the first moment you walked in. So your result at the end, right? Your result at the end is a completely different member of an entire team. Right? You have a whole new family that you're willing to lay your life on the line for. That's the military. So when I interviewed with them and they didn't join me, we still connected because of the opportunity to wear a uniform. And that's what firefighters and police officers go through. It's a trial by fire that brings them so closely together. And the whole family's so close-knit, it takes, I'll be honest with you, if there's police officers and firefighters watching, I'm going to tell you right now, it takes forever to become friends with you guys. I mean, because they're such a cloistered family, because they know how tight it is to work back. Because if one of them, right, if a cover officer doesn't show up, if the firefighters are there and they're staging and they don't have cover from PD, if the firefighters aren't protected, or if a firefighter is, you know, like today, and it would turn into a horrific traffic accident, but if they don't have all these cogs working together, someone's life's going to get lost. Someone's going to get hurt badly. So they tend to work all together around these pieces. So that family is so tight-knit. So these are a couple things I want you to know. And I want to show some great photos, because I want you to see what the family looks like for the firefighters. We want to think about what they're going to go through the next few days. But they call themselves both unions, right? They're associations, really. They're not Teamsters or all this other garbage, but they're public safety unions are there to defend and fight for the rights of police officers and firefighters. All the things like happened today, I can tell you right now, Greg Garza is hurt today, loses his life. You know, he dies either at the hospital or we don't know exactly where. But when his life left, the firefighter family was there. They're supporting him, and they're going to carry forward with them through the funeral. That's going to be very difficult and tough for the entire family, for the city itself, and they're going to be for them for the rest of their days, right? Up until his name ends up on a wall and a memorial. That name is not forgotten. It's the same for police officers. Put up, I want to honor my police officer brothers and sisters too. We have a couple other shots here. Police officers, like number 3 and 4, the police officers. Yeah, there's some other folks here. I want to make sure so the last 3 or 4 years, Ben Marconi. We can't go on as well without recognizing police officers and firefighters that since I thought I'd just pick the one since I've been serving with these men and women that I've known and attended their funerals. And I'll tell you, nothing is more heart-wrenching and somber than attending a first responder funeral. But at the same time, you see the family, and it's in a way, it's spiritually uplifting too, right? It's a tough combination. But Ben Marconi lost his life in the line of duty in 2016, was a District 6 resident and family member. I still see his family from time to time at different events. 20 years of service on San Antonio Police Department, was gunned down in his patrol car. Absolutely fantastic man. With the whole still full life ahead of him, but lost his life in the line of duty. Who do we have up next? This is just over the last couple of years. I just want to make sure we remember these men and women. Scott Dean. So the fire department hadn't lost, I think, a member of their family until Scott Dean perished in 2017 while fighting a fire. Before that, for something like 20, 25 years. Scott Dean passed away in 2017 in the line of duty. And they've done things for him that are amazing, like hockey tournaments. His family's still taken care of. So Scott Dean passed away. This is two deaths for the fire department in the last 2 years. That is heart-wrenching, and it's just all too frequent. Who else we have up there? I think we've got Miguel Moreno, June 30th of 2017. Attended this funeral myself as well. Just a heart-wrenching moment. But there's a video, and I'll never forget it. It's emblazoned in my mind. Miguel is on a motorcycle, and he had he was filming himself on a GoPro while riding his motorcycle. So we went through the service, and one of the last things we saw was Miguel on his motorcycle driving off. It was amazing, Silo. He had filmed himself taking off, and so he's driving off on his own, and that's the last shot of the video, as if he's moving on from his brothers and sisters. And the police officers have the thin blue line is the family, and you cross that thin blue line, you work hard for each other, protect each other, but they always say they got the watch from here on out. So that's Miguel. I think did we have Bobby Deckard? Bobby Deckard from 2013. I think we had Bobby Deckard. I want to honor Bobby Deckard from a ways back too. I couldn't get them all in tonight, but maybe that's something we need to be thinking about going forward. Bobby Deckard in 2013. And there have been others. I mean, there's countless others, and we want to be thankful of that. So that service and that sacrifice. So let's put up some shots here. I want you to see what the firefighter family is up to and what they've been doing. Just check out some of these things. Right there, the events. That's an actual look. And credit to Box 120 Photography. I got these off the San Antonio Professional Firefighters, the Union Association, their website, their Facebook page. So I'm sorry. Look at that, the line of men and women there for the loss of Scott Dean. Check that out. Local 624 is a union, always involved in the community. But I just want you to see the family and the atmosphere. There's a ladder truck and a couple of men in the group up on the side. Susan B. Komen, the Race for the Cure there. Always involved in Fiesta. But if you notice something, what you see here with all these pictures, these are happy. Oh, that's Max Welton's right there. Lost a life in the line of duty, but cancer related. Don't forget him. Box 120 Photography. Thank you for letting me take these. There's a platform, ladder truck, Scott Deem, another shot of Scott Deem. But if you notice all these pictures, what I thought was just awesome, you look at the hard work, is smiling faces, man. Their family, environment, and atmosphere. That's a touching shot right there. Last table left, last call table right there. We do that for military men and women too. There's some San Antonio firefighters right there. These guys are just always together. There's the firefighter hockey tournament and the second annual hockey tournament in recognition of Scott Dean. And that's the danger of the job right there. Good stuff. Look at that. There's Greg Garza again. Yeah. All right. Well, good stuff, man. It's difficult to watch. So when you get to know these people, it can get difficult. Sometimes, that's why I said tonight we ain't going to come in here and bullshit and have a lot of fun. Tonight we want to recognize the family. And I'm going to wrap this piece up because I need to get to Kenny and let Kenny do some talking about some politics. And then we've got a couple things we want to talk about at City Hall, and then we're just going to wrap it up and call it a night. So the key points to remember are pretty simple. Our first responders are out there knocking it cold every day. Oftentimes they got each other's back from an overtime perspective. They're doing it for no other reason. I think Salo put it perfect. They're going after issues, situations, dangers that most of us are going the other way on. If you think about it from a police officer perspective, a traffic stop could be their last. Gunfights, hand-to-hand combat and brawls, knives, spit on, poked at, not to mention disrespected by the media and a lot of communities in our city. Police officers face that every day. Every day. Firefighters, fires like we saw right there, hazmat situations. They come in on a call, 911 call. They encounter biopathogens, toxins, disease. Guess what happens for both police officers and firefighters? They take that back home. They take it home. I've have friends that have told me, and I couldn't fathom it, but they told me, I only tell my wife about 20% of what I did or saw today. 20%. The other 80%, I choose not to tell her that or him that because, it's too much. Yeah. And so they suck that inside, and that's what they live with. And their careers are short-lived. While some of us work till 70, they're working to 45, 50, maybe 55 if they're lucky. And it just is a painful reminder that we've got to do better for first responders. I don't give a damn about politics or contracts or votes at City Hall, all those things. Let's just put all that aside. But to do better for these men and women from here going forward, to remember the ones I showed tonight, but the 100 others behind them. And let's just think about Greg Garza. If we can put that up one more time, that bank account number. There it is. Take a picture of it one more time for me as we wrap up. I'm going to close it out with the 30 seconds of silence for Greg. But, man, my brothers and sisters are hurting tonight at the San Antonio Fire Department, and I feel for them. Our prayers are with them. Please, if you can, screenshot this with your phone right now. Take a picture. Send that bank account number to friends and family. $5, $10 pays for a dinner for the Garza family. And will help them going forward for a very, very long time of pain and remembrance. And to Kenny's point, which I think was excellent, we pray for peace. Bank account more so at this point than understanding. We're just praying for peace for the family and strength to get through the next few days for the San Antonio Fire Department. Thank you, firefighter Greg Garza. Thank you to the San Antonio Fire Department. We'll give you the next 30 seconds of silence if you could leave that picture up. All right. Thank you, Greg. We appreciate you, brother, and we will be thinking about you, your family, over the next few days and from here on out. As it is often said, your brothers and sisters will take it from here. Thank you for the hard work. All right. Let's move on to a couple of other things and knock out some stuff with Kenny. So, man, I appreciate you being patient. Yeah, absolutely. So Kenny Valespin's running for Precinct 3, as we always do on the broadcast. We invite all candidates. I get it. Some of you may not be happy with some folks that come on. Some of you may think, man, I want to vote for that guy. Or that woman is absolutely crazy. Or I'm with her 100%. So everybody comes on. Everybody gets the 10 minutes. And I always say, hey, man, let's talk about who you are, what you are. This is introductory. This isn't a bash fest on candidates or anything like that at all. But it's come on and have a conversation about why you're here, what brought you here in the first place. So people get to know you and know you're on the ballot. And then we have an opportunity to keep moving forward. It's a tough day, but I appreciate you still coming on, Kenny.
Absolutely. Thank you.
As always, man, I want you to give me as a first question out the gate for everybody that's going. And by the way, you picked a heck of a night to come on here as a Republican. You're running as a Republican, right?
Running as a Republican.
Running for a Republican. Running in the Republican primary. It's March 3rd. I'm a little still shook up there, but running in the Republican Party, March 3rd is the primary date. And I say it's a good night because the Democratic debate is going on right now. Yeah. So you have an opportunity to really talk to a captured audience, because I'm sure all the Democrats in this town right now are watching Julian Castro continue to maintain his 0.0% rating in the polls.
Yeah.
I had to say that. But Kenny, give us a rundown, brother. What brings you into the race, man? Tell us who you are. Give us your elevator pitch, What got you into this sucker?
Yeah, so I am a first generation born United States citizen, and I will tell you, man, my parents, we came here to live the American dream, and that's why I'm so conservative, is because anything that comes against me and my ability to live the American dream, like socialism, is something that I try to fight against. One of the things that really drove me to run for county commissioner is I've been looking at the commissioner's office. I've been looking at city council, been looking at me and you. We've been to a few different events for a little bit. And I wanted to make sure that we are continually pushing our county forward and our city forward. And I think that just looking at the way that we've been spending, I think that we haven't been as accountable and transparent with the taxpayers' money. The money that the county has as a budget is the people's money. Therefore, the county commissioner's responsibility is to be a good steward of the people's money, which is your money. And one of the things that I saw and what I felt was I don't think that we were great stewards of what we had. And so I decided that I wanted to get in the race after praying and seeking wise counsel.
Ever sought office before?
I have not. This is my first time running.
First run.
This is the first time running. And a lot of people, you said pastor, a lot of people probably know me if they follow me on Facebook as a pastor. Another side that they don't know about me is I'm also a banker. I'm the assistant vice president of the Bank of San Antonio. And as the assistant vice president of the Bank of San Antonio, I'm in the HR department. And as I was looking at where does my knowledge, skills, and abilities fit into the county, I was looking at the county commissioner's office because they have like 3 tenants. They're supposed to be responsible for the budget. They're supposed to have oversight, policy, procedure oversight over all the county offices, and they're supposed to appoint the county heads, the ones that aren't elected, and they have a great responsibility when it comes to these 3 tenants. And when I looked at what I was doing in my current job, I oversee, or I'm responsible for a budget, or being able to look at the budget and be fiscally responsible with the bank's budget. I look over the processes and procedures of the departments in the bank, and I'm one of the main and lead recruiters at the bank that I work at.
So if you're looking for a job that offers paid sick leave,
paid sick leave,
that's paid sick leave and full benefits.
We do.
Danny's your guy. All right. So military service.
Military service. So in the military, first 4 years served active duty in the Army.
What'd you do?
I was communications sergeant.
Okay, all right, communications sergeant. All right, station location, were you in San Antonio?
Station, no, I was actually in Fort Bliss and then in Korea.
All right, okay. You got sent over to the demilitarized zone.
The southern part of Korea.
Yeah, well, it's all right. Donald Trump fixed all that. Now everybody's happy over there. It's one giant happy Korea.
Yeah.
And remember, he walked right across the demilitarized zone into North Korea, Donald Trump.
And I actually served on that bridge.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so we had to pull patrol on the border of North and South Korea, and we just stood there and looked at them while they looked at us.
That's absolutely true, by the way. So talk to me. Let's say you're county commissioner, you take the oath of office, give us the top 1, 2, 3 things that you want to get after. You want people to know that you would really focus on if you took office and put that team together and got after it on what'll be January 1st, 2022? No, 2021. 2021. Excuse me. Go for it.
Well, first of all, I want to tell everybody when they look at a different expense, since I am a banker and I am a finance person, the way that I look at an expense is I don't just look at it as something that I'm spending. I look at it as an investment. So anytime somebody comes in front of me and says, hey, look, I want this, one of the things I will do as a county commissioner is I will look at that as an investment. And when you look at things as an investment, one of the things that you're trying to get with your investment is you're trying to get a return on your investment. And so sometimes the return might not be monetary. Sometimes it may be a better culture. Maybe it may be, I would probably say, not only just culture, monetary, but also just ability to build something, a greater
fiscal
foundation.
responsibility. All right, fiscal responsibility. I like that. I like that. Give me point two.
And so one of the things that I'm going to do, I think for the first, I have a 30 and 60 and 90 day plan. And so one of the first things I would do in the first 30 days is I want to look at our spending. One of the things that when, as a finance person, you look at in spending is you look at the behaviors of spending. And as I look at the behaviors on how we spent, were we effective? Are we pushing the county forward, and were we efficient? And so I'll look at that, the efficiency and the effectiveness of the way that we've been spending our money. And then in the next 60 days, I want to create a plan on how we can do this effectively and efficiently. And then the next 90 days, I want to make sure that we execute a plan. One of the most important things when you look at a 30, 60, and 90-day model is I'm going to be county commissioner for Precinct 3. And if I listen to other candidates talk, they always talk big picture, but I want to look big picture, but then zoom into Precinct 3 and look at how I can help the people of Precinct 3, because they're the ones that are going to be voting for me, how I can do things more effectively and efficiently for them. There is a macro picture, and I want to deal with that macroly, but as the lone Republican going to be on there, I have a hard fight when I look at things macro, because we have to talk about that with all the other commissioners. So one thing that I can do is I want to control what I can control, and that's my precinct.
I like that. Stay within your own level of control, right?
Absolutely.
So the county's a big machine, and I oftentimes think about the county as a check now. It's like a last remaining balance to me, check and balance to what's happening at the San Antonio City Council, because they are out of control downtown at City Hall. Like, they're spending money like it's crazy, right? They've got the keys to Dad's car. They're driving around. It's midnight. They got nobody watching them. They're cruising the streets. They're having a good old time. They're speeding. They're not wearing their seatbelts, and they're just having fun on the taxpayer expense or dime. Now, the county has an opportunity because they have over the years really expanded their spending as well, to your point. They've spent a lot of money in the past. But I think with the leadership focus, they do continually cut taxes, but I think they have an opportunity to be a little bit smarter in the economic incentive developments, in where they put their money in the infrastructure, in transportation. I think is another huge point.
I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah,
for this
transportation. I'll ask you what you think about transportation in a second, but I think if the county's able to get its act together, right, and start really focusing on being a counterbalance to the city, it's needed because the city is out of control, right, and they're doing things that are affecting and destroying. So I think that we've seen over the years when City Hall, and that's why I tell you right now, City Hall and the county don't have a very good working relationship. It's probably one of the difficult relationships we've seen over the last 10 or 15 years in San Antonio politics, is that there's a breakdown in communication in there. So lots going on with it. So real quick, give me your thoughts on transportation, wondering what you think about jail administration, and then wrap up with your 1 minute close here and let us know what your vote getting speech is, my friend, because you better be ready, man. You're probably going to say this the next, 115 days. Religiously, you're going to say this 1,000 times, so go for it. Transportation.
Absolutely. With transportation, one of the things that we have to do is we have to keep pushing forward. And one of the things that we passed recently is $1 billion to fix 1604, right? And we've already done about 650 million, so we have about 350-ish million left, and that's going to actually take from 281 all the way to the 35 side. I believe from 281 all the way to kind of the Culebra and Bandera area. That's already fixed and so paid for, and so we have to raise the rest of the money. One of the things that we have to do is we have to continue to keep looking for ways that we can keep traffic moving, and we have to make sure that we have the infrastructure to do that. And the way that we continually build infrastructure is from the county. We just need to make sure that we don't neglect some of the areas where we're trying to grow, but not trying to build the streets. And I'll give you an example. I live out there past Evans Road, and I believe they're looking at expanding there. But prior to them doing that, they were expanding in that area. But we could have been ahead of the curve by looking at how we can expand the roadway before we started opening up all these houses for them to build. So I think doing a proper analysis on where we want to grow and where we're effectively growing, and are we building the right infrastructure for the growth that we have in that area.
And what do you think about the jail? There's a lot of good things going on over there. What do you think about jail administration? Because that's one well-run machine right now.
I have somebody that says that when they get into office, they want to do an audit of the jail. That's good to do. But I was talking to somebody that may be running for, and I won't say his name, but he may or may not have been on here already. I think in one of the things that this person, if elected, wants to do is they want to do an audit as well. And so I don't want to really duplicate work. I would like to see first who's elected and what they want to do. I think if there is a new sheriff that comes in town, no pun intended, if there's a new sheriff that comes in town, they're going to have a plan, and they want to try to execute that plan. And so as a county commissioner, if I listen to that plan and it's something that I can stand behind, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stand behind it. Now, if we keep the same administration and there's nothing being done, absolutely an audit needs to be done if there hasn't been one launched already.
Hey man, I think people would be thrilled if you could just keep them in the jail.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with us acting like this is a hotel
Audit the front
where you
door.
can come and go, we definitely need to do an
audit the front and back door, because apparently someone's got the key to those locks.
And you know, it probably all goes down to their policies and procedures and
procedures, training.
What kind of procedure, what kind of training has done, and that probably to your point, that probably like points to, hey, are people even properly trained?
Leadership
or staffed?
Leadership 101 usually is blame the process initially, not the person, right?
Yeah.
Like, what about the process is broken here? That even though either maybe it is training, maybe it's not training, but if you're blaming the process, it's heck of a lot better than blaming the person. We saw with the sheriff in the past, he alluded to his own people were doing it to sabotage his electability. I don't understand blaming your people. You blame the process. You got to hold the people accountable for it. Obviously, once you dig into the process and where it's broken and things that matter. But so wrap up, 30 seconds here. Tell us what the last few seconds is and thoughts for people before you hit the closed mic here. And I want to thank you, obviously, of course, for joining us. It means the world to us. You reached out. You know, we ran into each other at an event the other night. I mean, it was fortuitous. And today, thank you for your prayer and your verse, your Bible verse on finding peace for firefighter Greg Garza. We appreciate your thoughts here, so we're thankful. So why don't you give us the last 30 seconds to tell you what you think.
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. As a county commissioner, you have a responsibility to be fiscally responsible for the county's money. It is the people's money. And the stance that I'm running on is I am going to be the voice for the people. And as the voice of the people, one of the things that we have to understand is our voice being heard, or is our voice being silenced? One of the things that I want to do is I want to get out into the community and I want to talk to people, and I want your voice to be heard. We're doing a really great job at politicking and saying that we want to spend this or we want to spend that, but are we really looking at the people's voice and to say, is this what the people wants? I'm not afraid to take a risk when we're talking about spending, but I want to take a calculated risk, and then when I take a calculated risk, I want to make sure that I'm going to have a great return on the investment. And so I think as we start to look at building San Antonio and Bexar County generationally, we need to make sure to make the main thing the main thing. And a lot of this has to do with, what do the people want? Are we just making things that aren't pushing the county forward? And are we listening to the people? At some point in time, there's going to be a balance of, hey, look, I got to take a risk so we can push the county forward. But there also has to be a balance of, hey, I heard you, and this is a plan that I'm enacting in order to kind of put the things the steps in order for me to have this thing that the people want. We can't just have this society where the people want something and then somebody in government says, well, we're going to do this. I hear you, but we're going to do this. And I think that's how I'm going to really work with the other commissioners, is really just to kind of allow the people to speak.
All right, brother. Appreciate it. Kenny Valespin, County Commissioner Precinct 3, running on the Republican side, March 3rd primary, first shot at elected office, brother. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for giving us your time this evening and telling us who you are. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, my man. Thank
Kenny
you.
Valespin, a voice for the people.
All right, man. He closed that sucker up like a pro right there, like a champ. Man, he closed that commercial up. Man, good job, Kenny. All right, let's hit a couple of key points and we'll wrap up for the evening. But as we said earlier, tonight's an atypical broadcast because we spent most of the first half of the show really honoring the San Antonio Fire Department. firefighter Greg Garza, and our San Antonio police officers as well, the San Antonio Police Department. Fallen first responders, the highest sacrifice. We always want to make sure that we take care. We'll wrap up with that in a second. But there are a couple things coming up this week at City Hall. Wanted to mention them for you so you knew. If you can put that one final picture up, I think it's number 9. Man, I got to do something about this skin too. Hey man, yes. So San Antonio cooks up its own Green New Deal. So folks, this Thursday, the City Council is voting on Ron Nirenberg's Green New Deal. It has been worked on for over a year. It's basically Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's program for Ron Nirenberg. So he brought it in and is trying to bring this climate change activism into San Antonio. He's been pushing on it for a year, had trouble passing it, couldn't get business support, and he's been struggling, period, to get public support and backing on this piece. It's a job-killing, business-killing venture. So what they're going to vote on is allegedly now just a roadmap plan. No costs attached to it. So when they first rolled this plan out for the Climate Action Adaptation Plan, when they first pushed it out, it had costs associated with each particular item. Like just basic kind of ranges, right? And so it could be anywhere from $1 million to $100 million, or under $1 million, or $10 million. It had a range, kind of like a bandwidth of costs. The total package was around, $3 billion worth of spending programs, or programs that would be implemented. That was the first draft that came out. Met with much public ridicule, would not pass a public vote. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the Sierra Club, you're these climate activists who like to glue themselves to the street. I don't care who you are. At the end of the day, it wouldn't pass public muster once we gave them the facts and principles and the $1 billion it's going to cost. So Ron Nirenberg went back and decided that he was going to remove all the costs from it. So now there are no costs associated with what they're going to vote on this coming Thursday. There's going to be 240 recommendations, ideas. The mayor will tell you, oh, there's no mandates with this. This is purely high-level thinking, and we're pushing forward in the future because the cost of inaction is far too great. But they won't quantify the cost of action so that we would know the cost of action is far too great. So they've removed the costs. And I can tell you right now, any government entity that comes to you and gives you 200 plus ideas for a program or to support this type of resolution or a climate action and adaptation plan, and they don't give you the costs associated with it, they tell you, hey, we'll figure out the costs when we come to them one by one. So if we come in and say, hey, we're going to decrease the amount of concrete, we're going to change the building materials over here, we're going to change the development code over here, you're going to have to build with this type of material, we're going to change your zoning, we're going to force you to do that. When they bring all that into the world, and I'm going to cost estimate it as it goes by, as it goes along, you're screwed. I'm telling you right now, because they've got you. They're going to consider now that this is some sort of past ordinance, and it's going to infiltrate everything that's happening at City Hall. You're now going to have to worry about climate when it comes to your house and housing programs and how you build your house, how you pay it. Your job and employer is going to have to worry about it with their CPS energy bill and SAWS rates. They want to kick coal plants and all other types of forms out and completely go 100% renewable in the next 25, 30 years. This is what these people think like. They believe that they can force the costs of their progressive agendas onto taxpayers, and they're doing it by this plan on Thursday. Look, this thing's a done deal. I mean, people have been trying to fight it, but there's 9 votes for it, probably 10. We're looking at 9-2, 10-1 vote come Monday, come this Thursday. It's going to pass. And now from here on out, it's going to be involved in the roads we build, right? So the money we invest in Connect SA, allegedly. So Connect SA is the mayor's transportation plan. You better believe it, that climate's going to be a part of that, because they don't want you on roads. They want to decrease the roads so they can put up bike lanes and walkable lanes and remove cars from the streets. They want combustible engines gone in 25 years. Let's be honest here. They don't want cars. That is not the role of city government, right? That is not the role of city government. The role of city government is to create areas and opportunities so that marketplace dictates these things. In San Antonio, its ozone levels have been on the decrease. There are good things going on. SAWS is a nationally recognized water conservation organization. CPS Energy itself has had wonderful opportunity that they've done with it. Maybe they've been back when they tried nuclear. They're always tinkering around with stuff. They call it now their flexible path. But they're looking at solar, at wind, at different types of energy sources. So they're branching out. But it's not good enough for Ron Nirenberg or these climate change activists or Councilwoman Anna Sandoval, who brought those Green New Deal, those climate action items to our community and city in a stride. I'm telling you, they're racing to be Austin. Right? That's the best San Antonio could do right now. The best San Antonio could do right now is to dream of being Austin. That's our city council. And this vote on Thursday, mark my words, right? It's going to bring countless ordinances and different types of legislation and costs to all types of building, all types of job hiring, to CPS Energy, to SAWS. Your bill rates at CPS Energy and SAWS are going to increase. It's just a matter of time. They're already going up. But I can guarantee you, we remove different types of energy sources and that diversification of energy, your rates are going to go up. And we're doing it because they're running around the country and everybody's bought into this climate change hysteria, right? These organizations, the progressive groups, I'm not saying climate change isn't occurring, but it isn't the end-all be-all. We're not going to melt off the face of the planet by the end of the year, right? We're not going to turn into the dinosaurs here. Right? We have a way, the market will dictate and build itself. I think we invest in things that matter. Obviously, solar, wind, all these different things. We're already good at it. Let's keep being good, but not the city council. No. The San Antonio City Council wants to take everything away from you, right? So they can have your money, they can tell you to run your business, they can tell you how to pay your employees, they can tell you how to put the energy in your home, they can tell you how to walk and drive to work. Name it. They're telling you every aspect of your life. Oh, by the way, you'll begin to depend more on the government, more on City Hall for your opportunities to be successful. That's not what we want. Anytime City Hall gets involved, it is absolutely a broken process, man. The less they're involved, the better it gets, right? So I just think it's out of control. The vote is going to be this Thursday, and it's going to be the basis for everything going forward. This is Ron Nirenberg's Green New Deal. Make no doubt about it. He is Ocasio-Cortez light. That's what it is. He's trying his best to be an AOC. Instead, he's a RAN. Instead of AOC, he's RAN. Adrian Nirenberg, I think is his name. Right? He's an RAN. This is what the deal is now, right? It is Ron's Green New Deal. Watch it. Make fun of it when the vote comes. We'll have to live with the consequences of it because, again, Ron Nirenberg's writing checks on other people's bank accounts, and that's that city council. Expect the 10-1 vote unless some other council member pops up and says something about it. Also, there's an item coming up this week that's hilarious if you ask me. The city is spending about $129,000 on a homeless strategic plan. Now, I am a huge advocate for homeless initiatives. We've already talked about this in the past. I think we need to be digging into the homeless, mental health issues, addiction issues, opioid issues, it's all there. The homeless situation needs help in our community. So we decided to do a master plan, the city council does, and they spend $129,000 and they go out and hire a firm from San Francisco who has the worst homeless situation in the nation. Wisdom. Good data. They get real good data we're going to get from them. We're going to learn exactly, what do they call it in California? Brownouts, right? Because the amount of problems they're having with sanitation in the city of San Francisco now, where the homeless people, they're camping everywhere. And trust me, San Antonio is almost there themselves with some of these policies. Like we decriminalized criminal trespassing, the district attorney did. So a homeless guy or panhandler can go crash in the front door right there of the Palacio del Rio. He can just lay right there. It's not criminal trespass anymore because it's been decriminalized. So we're starting that path to be Little Austin. That's what San Antonio is. Because Ron Nirenberg and Steve Adler are basically brothers, the mayor of Austin. They're best friends. And all those policies that start up there get flushed down to San Antonio, right? So you want to think about that right there. Bad policies. Austin's the toilet, right? The bad policy, of the progressive bad policy haven. And they flush their bad ideas right down to the San Antonio City Council. City Council grabs them and starts, oh man, let's do this. Let's cut down this. Let's do that. Let's make sure we work on the trees here. You know, let's reduce the cost over here. Let's do paid sick leave. Let's do $15 an hour. Right down the line. Bad ideas from Austin, flush down to San Antonio. We get this vote on Thursday. We are also seeing this homeless initiative plan come up. $129,000 to a firm in San Francisco. What the heck is up with that? That should automatically disqualify a firm. If you can't take care of your own city, you have no business coming to San Antonio taking care of ours. San Frantonio, friends. San Frantonio. And then, of course, also one more on this B session. On Wednesday, the City Council is going to start debating pre-K for SA. That's going to be a big conversation, folks. It's about $42 million, $42 million of spending a year. It's sales tax. It's going to come up for a reauthorization vote soon. We are going to keep our eyes on that one. It's time to stay tuned because they are going to, we, the citizens, get to revote and reauthorize that amount of spending. $42 million of our tax dollars right now are going to pre-K for SA. By the way, House Bill 3 was passed in Austin's legislature this year. When we closed out the legislative session, we closed it out, we authorized HB 3. That provides boatloads of dollars for pre-K support and assistance throughout the state. So we have the capability to get funding from the state, but the city of San Antonio, I don't think they're going to let go of their dollars or use those state dollars. I'm telling you, something's going to amiss here. Be prepared for a great conversation coming on pre-K and what happens with the dollars that are being allocated out of Austin and how we're going to use that money. The Governor Abbott stepped up to the plate on pre-K. He funded it through HB 3. Let's see what that looks like when it comes into San Antonio. So going to be a big conversation on that one. Pre-K is always huge. It was controversial when it was passed a few years back. It was Julian Castro's, I think, if I'm not sure, only accomplishment. I think so. But so we have to pay attention to make sure we understand what pre-K looks like and how that's going to start to ratchet up. And it could be a duplication of services. It could be changed. We could vote it down. We could take the money from Austin. Who knows? It's going to be huge. Don't forget, early voting and all these other things are starting soon. The November elections are coming up. We went over them on the last show for the amendments, the 10 amendments that are on the Texas Constitution. We're going to see those soon. We want to thank, obviously, Kenny Valespin for coming in tonight. Tyler, thank you. Salo, thank you. Charlie, we appreciate it. And to wrap up with this, don't forget about your first responders. Now more than ever, when we see something happen today, and God bless you, firefighter Greg Garza and your family, we are incredibly proud of you and for the life you lived and the service you gave us. Today may have been your last day on the job, but it is not your last day in the hearts and minds of your brothers and sisters at the San Antonio Fire Department. They're going to love you and remember you forever. Your brothers and sisters in the association and union are going to love and remember you forever, and your family will be in our prayers. Thank you for your service. We appreciate absolutely every piece of it. We'll be back again next Tuesday at 8 o'clock, back on the normal schedule, the normal routine. But tonight, the broadcast wants to say thank you, San Antonio Police Department, San Antonio Fire Department, all our first responders. We honor you, we respect you, we appreciate you. Have a good evening. You are in our prayers.